Hello. It's been almost a week, I think, since my first video, and the reason that I've been sort of hesitating to do another one is because I didn't have anything fun to do. Like, you don't want to start out your first video with, like, a really serious topic or, something that's really controversial or whatever. And I have a list of things that I want to talk about, as I'm coming up with rants in my head. I sort of jot them down being like, this would be fun to talk about. And I'm looking through and being like, none of these would be very good first videos, really. Because this is kind of my first video actually talking about something. The last video was just sort of like me introducing myself. And so I thought that, I was sort of inspired to do this earlier today because it's Saturday, it's the weekend, and thankfully I live close enough to home that I can come home on the weekends because I work on the weekends, so it's nice that during school I can still come home and do my stuff on the weekends. And it's also nice because I have we live on a farm, and so there's 8 zillion animals, and I don't like to be away from them because when you grow up around a lot of animals, not being around them is weird. And so I was sort of inspired because when we were kids, me and my siblings, on Saturdays, we would all wake up relatively early, and we'd all go climb into my parents' bed, and we would have 5 or 6 dogs and 4 or 5 cats and 3 kids and 2 parents all trying to fit on this one bed, and it was sort of like this huge cuddle puddle, and it was wonderful. And so being away during the week is hard for me because I have 2 cats, and it's not the only they're not the only 2 cats who live here. My sister has a cat who she doesn't live here anymore full time. She has her own place where her cat lives. And I think we have a couple of other cats that sort of wander in and out. But my 2 boys are pretty much mine that I unfortunately have to leave at home while I'm at school, which sucks. I brought one of them with me last year and ended up getting in a bunch of trouble for having him, which is so dumb because seriously, people on my campus have dogs. They just it goes from room to room to room, so they never get caught with the dog. But anyway, I digress. So I was sort of inspired by my boys because they're cats, my 2 cats, and I actually have one right here. Look how cute he is. He's like, what are you doing? He's actually purring really loudly. I don't know if you can hear it, but this is Jax. My other cat's name is Dancer, but I just call him Dance. He just made a weird noise. He just finished eating, so he's got yucky cat food breath. But anyway, I only get to spend one night a week with him, and he just jumped off. And he's still kind of a kitten. And so he was born in May. I don't know how. He's 5 or 6 months. May, June, July. He's 4 or 5 months. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not good at math. But he's really sweet, and he's super cuddly, and it's nice because my older cat, who's actually almost exactly a year older than Jax, Dance, is not one for cuddling. He loves getting scratched, and he's great. He comes when he's called, and he'll come over to me, and he acknowledges me when I say hi to him, and he misses me too. But he's not as cuddly as Jax is. And don't get me wrong, I love him to death, and the 2 of them cuddle together like nobody's business. Seriously, they play together all day, and they play with my mom's puppy and my brother's puppy, and it's the cutest thing ever, the 4 of them. But Dance doesn't like to be locked in my room when I go to sleep, whereas Jax will literally curl up. He'll sleep on my neck right here, or actually on my face, which is really funny and annoying, especially because I'm allergic to cats, which of course isn't going to stop me from having them because I love them. But anyway, I love my boys very, very much. They are the light of my life, honestly. I mean, that sounds kind of sad, like, ooh, the lonely girl likes her cats. But seriously, though, I mean, I love my dog too. I mean, I hate that, like, he's older, so he can't climb up the stairs, which sucks. Um, but I mean, on Saturday mornings, because I wake up early, so I spend the night, Friday night at school, and then Saturday morning I drive back. And by 7:30 or 8, I'm into bed with my mom, and like all the animals just like, I have like 3 or 4 dogs on me, a couple of cats, and my dog Lukey is a yellow lab, so he's rather big. He literally just sprawls across me, and it's just the best ever, to feel so surrounded with love. And that's why I like coming home. And it sucks that I can only spend one night a week at home, but whatever. After I graduate, I'll have my own place, and I'll have my cats with me, and it'll be great. But anyway, a rather long introduction story to what I wanted to talk about, which was inspired by my cats, which is the domestication of cats, which is actually really cool because they were domesticated a different way than pretty much everything else. Because, I mean, you have animals like the dog that are domesticated like way early, but most animals that are domesticated now were domesticated right around the time that agriculture became a thing. And so when humans went from hunter-gatherers to let's settle down in one place and grow food and, build up civilizations, obviously that's when the domestication of animals pretty much came around, which it's kind of cool. I mean, it's not that exciting. It's like, oh, of course, when agriculture starts, that's when everything gets domesticated because, you have your cows and your pigs and your goats and your sheep, and I mean, that's when, plants got domesticated too. And he's meowing at the door because my brother's puppy's in the other room and he wants them. Anyway, sorry. Domestication. So the cool thing about cats is that if anybody has a cat or like knows a cat or has ever associated with a cat, they know that they're sort of, what's the word for it? Meow! Hush, baby boy. I'm trying to think of a good word to describe cats. They're sort of, I don't even know. I mean, if you've ever had a cat, or if you have a cat, or if you've ever, spent time with a cat, you know what I'm talking about. You know how cats are, And so it just sort of tickles me the way they were domesticated because obviously with agriculture comes I'm sorry, I'm tired. It's like way past my bedtime. With agriculture comes, you're storing, your grains and your corns and your potatoes and whatever you're growing. You're storing them because, off growing season, you need somewhere to put it. And so as you're storing all this food that you're now growing, you've got rodents and varmints coming in. And so you've got, your rats and your mice and your whatever the equivalent to rats and mice over in Europe and the Middle East are. I assume rats and mice. And so with all these rodents coming in to eat all this food that you now have to store, because now, you're not just a hunter-gatherer, following the seasons and going where your food goes. You're staying in one spot. So, in the off season, you need to have something growing and then you store it, right? And so, the cool thing about cats is that, instead of people being like, I think that animal would be beneficial to my farm, so I'm going to tame it and, raise its babies so that they're nice to people, which is how all domestication happened. The cats actually sort of decided themselves that they wanted to be domesticated. So they followed the mice and the rats into, these agricultural areas where there are these little farms, and, they sort of showed up out of the blue to eat all these rodents, and voila, then you've got things like, barn cats who are like, they're feral, but they're around and they eat the mice, and they, they're beneficial. They eat all the rodents that want to eat your food. Cats are great. And then sort of, as time passes and, agriculture starts becoming like a bigger thing, the cats sort of allow themselves to get closer to the humans. And that is so cool. If you've ever met a cat, of course they're going to be the one animal that goes, oh yeah, by the way, I live here now, and you're not domesticating me, I'm domesticating me, And that's so great because, it makes you wonder, are cats even really domesticated? If they're the ones who sort of showed up out of the blue and were like, all right, we can live here now. Yeah, that's a thing that can happen. Are they even domesticated now? They could go back to the wild if they wanted. And I've read some articles that talk about the DNA in cats and how, the big cats in the wild, like the lions and the tigers and the cheetahs and leopards and whatever, their DNA is so similar to your regular everyday house cat that, just looking at the two DNA samples from the two, you can't tell the difference from the DNA, which is really a cool thing because, the difference between, wild cows, the buffalo that are out on the plains, or the whatever cow type things that are still, the ones out in Africa that have the horns that the alligators jump out of the river and eat. I'm sorry. I know I said I was smart last video, but I'm only smart about some things. I don't remember names. But anyway, their DNA is different when they've been domesticated. You look at the wolf, which is, that's what all dogs are domesticated from or descended from or whatever. And its DNA is completely different than, your normal everyday dog. And even between dog breeds, you can see DNA differences because they've been so domesticated. But with cats, wild cats and domesticated cats, they're the same. So are they even really domesticated, or are they just sort of choosing to live with us as companions and as mousers, And then the other dumb thing is, I love cats. I love all animals. I love my dogs. I love my cats. I love my sheep. I'm not going to say I love my goats because they're not actually mine. They're my sister's, and I hate goats. But, I love all animals. And it's just, cats, they're so beneficial to us, in terms of they come in and they're mousers, and they start out as such a thing. And when the Black Plague was going around, people would go out and just kill cats because they thought that the cats were bringing the plague to them, even though it was the fleas on the rats that the cats were killing. So, that doesn't make any sense. And, cats have been persecuted as, witches' right-hand animals and killed because of that. And, lay off a cat's history. Seriously? Cats are great. Can't you find something else that freaks you out? Cats are amazing. But, my cat's pitching a fit right now. He's not used to me not being home all the time. But anyway, that pretty much sums up my story. That cats are awesome, and everybody should be like, I love cats, because seriously, they're super cool. Maybe I'll find out something cool about dogs and do something for all you dog lovers out there. Because I love dogs too. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up because this is getting to be as long as my last video, which I thought was pretty long. Which, I don't even know why I'm saying that, because seriously, this is me talking about shit, like, it's probably gonna end up being pretty long. But I thought that was something kind of short and sweet and not an awful topic that's gonna make, like, people cringe about me talking about it. So I'm just gonna leave you with that, about the thought of how awesome cats are. And if anybody actually watches this and has like a topic you think that it would be cool for me to talk about, or a question, send it to me. I'll be happy to do whatever, you know, read it, talk about it. I'm totally open to options. Do it in a nice way though. Don't hurt my feelings. Anyway, I have to go to bed because it's literally like an hour and a half past the time I normally go to bed. And I know it's the weekend, but I'm an old lady, so I need my beauty sleep. Anyway, good night.